This is John Paul Rai. I'm coming to you from Tokyo, Japan, and today I'm talking about Evan Rachel Wood and Marilyn Manson, and I got a special guest, none other than Colonel Kurtz. Here she is.
Hey, what's
Yeah.
up? How are you doing?
So Colonel Kurtz has been covering this case, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, for quite a while. She's doing a great job, and I want to talk to her about something I'm comfortable talking about is the media and perception of Evan Rachel Wood and maybe what's going through Evan Rachel Wood's head when she goes on these shows. So I want to talk about mainly three shows. First of all, The Daily Show, The View, and what's the other one I'm thinking of? Good Morning
Uh,
America.
what?
Good Morning America.
Yeah, yeah.
I got it. Maybe we'll throw in a couple others. But have you seen all of those, or at least the clips with her?
I have, yeah, I have.
Okay, so let's start with Good Morning America. Now, the first question I want to ask you is like, what do you think is going through Evan Rachel Wood's head when she's taking these interviews, and like, what's her main goal?
I think her main goal is always to seem very sympathetic, and to seem, to seem probably to try to seem as natural and believable as possible. And also, it seems like one of the big things that she's doing in these interviews is she uses every interview as an opportunity to really push herself as this activist. She talks a lot about like theories about domestic violence and a lot of like, feminist sort of activist ideas and catchphrases and stuff. I think it's pretty boring, actually. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of Amber Heard. It's a lot of word salad, and she's not as she's not as ineloquent as Amber Heard, but it's a lot of like platitudes and just catchphrases and stuff put together. But yeah, I think it's very similar to Amber. She's trying to seem fragile and broken down, but also she's a strong activist, and that's what comes across in these interviews. Her interview though on The View was pretty terrible. She looked down about half the interview, especially she looked down
Yeah.
the whole time when she was talking about that lawsuit, when they did ask her about the lawsuit, and the whole time when she's talking, she's just looking down.
Okay, so let me ask you this. This is going to be something maybe a little more difficult and subtle. Do you see any signs when she's talking of nerves or possible signs that she knows she's not being truthful? Things the audience might be able to pick up on when she goes on one of these, I'm going to say, pretty trashy shows like The View.
It depends on the interview. I and others thought that she was shockingly bad in the View interview, particularly when they brought up when they started. They did ask her a couple of questions about the lawsuit and what was alleged in
Mm,
Manson's lawsuit, and she looked down the whole time. Looked
mm,
very when she was talking about it, looked very uncomfortable. So I didn't think the
mm.
View was a good appearance for her, especially in the second half. Her appearance on Good Morning America, I didn't think it was very impressive, and it was interesting that when the interviewer asked her, did Brian Warner abuse you, she goes, mm-hmm. Like she
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
even answer the question.
I actually made fun of that in my video. She was
Did
like,
you?
mm. She does this like little
Mm.
nod or something. Like,
And this kind of
mm-hmm.
like grimace, you know. Mm.
Yeah.
But her appearances got better. I would say on the Daily Show, it was it was a very friendly audience. Obviously, Trevor Noah's not going to grill anybody, at least anybody that he agrees with.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, what was your opinion on the abuse you suffered, and how was that for you?
And then Drew Barrymore, I know that I'm not sure if you've seen that one, but I just have to say for our audience, if you have not seen the interview that she did with Drew Barrymore, it turns into Drew Barrymore basically just gushing over her and talking about how wonderful she is and what a role model she is. So
Hmm.
yeah, that was it was a bit much.
Right. Okay. So I've got some opinions from, I think, some very credible people, namely Marilyn Manson Uncanceled on Twitter, who thinks Good Morning America did a pretty good job of showcasing Marilyn Manson's information.
Hmm.
Right? They put out his side of the story, not only once but twice. I think they put out his Instagram response and then his, legal response. So the big question I've got is, do you think Evan Rachel Wood was ready for that, or do you think they surprised her to see what she thought about that when they did it?
Oh, no, I'm sure she was ready for it. Honestly. Yeah. I mean,
Because her
someone
response wasn't great. She was, didn't really seem that ready for it. She kinda seemed like you said, her answer was like, "Uh-huh," and she just kinda it didn't feel like she had a great plan to snap right into her answer. It
right.
felt like, she was struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. They might have surprised her with it. I'm not really sure, but I would have to say this: like she would have to be. She has a bad team around her. If they didn't prepare her for the fact
Mm.
that this lawsuit that's come out, she might um, have to address it. So
I don't know. What team does she have? Do you know anything about her t what team does she have? You mean representatives and, like, her agents and lawyers, that kinda thing?
yeah, whoever is advising her in this, I would assume that there's somebody. I don't, and she could just be out here totally alone. But I would assume that she's not going to go on a round of major media appearances without someone saying, "Hey, there's this lawsuit out there about you. You might get asked about it." That just seems. So what I would chalk it up to, I would chalk up her discomfort with the fact that, hey, look, she's got a lot on her. I mean, she's got a lot of legal shit on her, and she can go out there and she can play, she can play a role, and she can enjoy this HBO documentary right now. But I mean, that lawsuit is like a reality. It just like for Amber Heard, the lawsuit by Johnny Depp is a reality, and there's got to be some part of her that is torn over this. I don't think that I would be very doubtful that Evan Rachel Wood is really gung-ho on this course that she's chosen now, in terms of, wow, this is just working out great. I'm sure that she did not anticipate getting sued. I'm sure she didn't anticipate her hoaxer girlfriend getting exposed for the crimes that they have committed together. So no, so things are not going according to plan right now for
Yeah,
her.
I totally agree, and you know what? I think that's super important. I think that's one of the most important points you could actually make is that both Amber Heard and Evan Rachel Wood thought this was gonna go a lot smoother. They thought, "We'll accuse them, people believe us, there won't be so much, bump in the road, and we'll go to court, and they'll kinda believe us," and, didn't really work out like that. Basically, one final question, and it's this. Do you think those appearances will hurt Marilyn Manson's case, or how do you think that's going to play out as far as the audience or, kind of like the sheeple are concerned?
Yeah, no, I think those appearances definitely hurt. I mean, I think that anytime that Evan Rachel Wood goes out and tells her story, I think that it's not good for Manson. Just like for a while, I would think most people
So,
believed.
I mean, how bad on a level, gauging how bad?
I mean, pretty bad. It's all bad. I mean, the documentary is bad.
Mm.
The hit after hit after hit by the media against this man for over a year. That's been bad. I mean, it's bad. I mean, he's not in a good position at this moment, except that this lawsuit and the legal system can overcome this media narrative. If Reverend Rachel Wood, I do think she's going to get arrested at some point. Maybe I'm crazy to think that, but I do think she's going to get arrested. She's committed crimes. And she's committed a hoax, and she's had the police going on this wild goose chase, way more than Jussie Smollett, I think. But anyway, and I think Jussie Smollett's awful. But anyway, so
Okay.
yeah, so I think she's going to get arrested at some point. But if not, these women have now the legal process to deal with, just like Amber Heard has, and so things are bad for Manson at this moment. But he has bottomed out. Like this period that we're going through with the HBO documentary and with these appearances by Evan Rachel Wood. This is like a bottoming out for him, and there's nowhere to go but up. Whereas for Evan Rachel
Mm,
Wood, it's going to be downhill after this,
that's a
I
great
think.
point. All right, so I guess we could end it on that. So you guys, of course, let me know what you think down below. And thank you so much for Colonel Kurtz stopping by. She will, of course, be linked, and she's doing Marilyn Manson, also some Johnny Depp, and also the occasional video aside from that. So check her out. And if you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't subscribe, well, I guess I'll be sad. Maybe we'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.